don't know. It's been, I mean, these people have a long history, together. The people who were at some point in charge of the prisons, the Watsons themselves have strong struggle credentials, but of course we know what they have become and what BOSASA's checkered history is now like public knowledge. But what exactly is going on in this particular instance? Any pointers?
Well, there's been a long build-up to this particular controversy, everyone. I'm going to try and take you through some of the key moments. Of course, BOSASA has changed its name. It's now known as African Global, and it's also expanded its reach, not just focusing on prisons, but several other sectors as well. But let's very quickly focus on its primary core business, and that, of course, is prison contracts, providing catering, security, and fencing to many of South Africa's correctional facilities. It claims that it's done a lot of good for South Africa. In fact, it's trained 80,000 offenders and helped to rehabilitate many of the inmates in the country's prisons. It's also been relatively successful in moving into other sectors. So, for example, IT systems and what it calls smart solutions for facilities and office buildings. So it has managed to expand beyond one particular industry. It's also ventured into the renewable energy space as well. You can take a look at those solar panels. So it is trying to, in a sense, to take advantage of the green revolution. So that's perhaps some of the success, but this is where the controversy comes in. As you know, Gavin Watson is the Chief Executive Officer. He did play an important role in the struggle against apartheid, but he is strongly connected to the ANC, has strong political connections, and some might argue those political connections were simply too strong. This man is Linda MT. He's the former Correctional Services Commissioner, and he's been accused of taking several bribes in exchange for the award of tenders which went to BOSASA. Those tenders allegedly worth more than 1.5 billion rand. Now, this is where we get another twist in the tale. The Special Investigating Unit apparently conducted several probes into these tenders. It delivered the case dockets to the National Prosecuting Authority several years ago, but so far no convictions whatsoever. The critics saying that those case dockets are simply gathering dust in the NPA bosses. Now let's focus very quickly on Andile Ramaphosa. He, of course, claimed, or the president claimed, that this payment was all about the consulting services that his son did for BOSASA. And the claim, of course, was that he focused on African clients rather than South African clients because there might be a conflict of interest, the reason being he is the president's son. Of course, Cyril Ramaphosa then backtracked in Parliament saying that it wasn't about business, it was in fact this campaign donation. But all of this, of course, begging the question, Vuyo, as to why the campaign managers of the CR17 campaign weren't aware that the money was coming from such a controversial source.
See, that is where the problem is with the story. And I remember us discussing this last week when the president, his response, second response to Parliament in the form of the letter to the National Assembly Speaker came out. Because if you listen to what he said right at the beginning when answering Musi Maimane, he said he had known about the matter for some time. Right? Now, you would expect then someone like that, and you look at how confidently he answered the question in the National Assembly on the day. He was on top of the story. Now, to then make an about turn, much like to say, oops, actually, the money went into my campaign, which then brings us to your question as to why and how the people who were in charge of his campaign, and given that he's been campaigning on a ticket of, trying to root out corruption, coming out clean, where there have been misdemeanors and so on, something doesn't make sense. And we have no doubt not heard the end of this one.
Indeed, the ANC defending Ramaphosa's actions, saying he was in fact very brave and courageous to come out and admit that he had, quote-unquote, made a mistake. So we'll see where this one goes, Vuyo.
Malusi Kigaba was indeed brave, and wasn't he?